Hello everyone, greetings of the day. Welcome to Ccoding Programming YouTube channel. In the C programming language series, our today's topic of discussion is input-output instructions. So today we are going to see that what are the input-output instructions and why they are important in C language or every language. If we are talking about the program, so every program has a unique input and outputs. So there will be no program without any of the input and output instructions, and the program is depending on the input and output, because if we'll not get an input, so we cannot print any output. So it will have the unit set of input and will display the output to the user. So for performing this input and output, in the C language is going to be support a function called as scanf. So the scanf is going to be used to read the input from the user side, and it is going to be stored in the memory location, that is in the variable, and whatever the input we are going to get from the user, we are going to print it on the output screen, or we are going to perform any operation on it and we are going to print that output on screen. So basically here we are going to be deal with scanf and printf functions. So as I told, this scanf, here we can see scanf with opening and closing bracket, means it is considered as a function, and the definition of this function is written in the header file, that is nothing but standard input output header file. So scanf function is used for getting the value from the user and store into the memory location with a particular name of the variable. Okay, then printf is nothing but name itself. It is going to be tell us that we are going to print the value. Okay, so that value is going to be visible to us on a output screen. So scanf function is used for getting the value from user and storing it in the memory location, and printf is a function used to fetch the data stored in the memory location and print on the screen. Okay, so here we are going to see first the function scanf. So as we know, in the previous videos we have already seen the data types. So we have seen a number of data types, that so out of that is integer, character, float, double, long, byte. Okay, then long, okay, long, double, there are many. So out of that, three basic data types we are going to see. We have seen the memory locations also, that memory bytes, how many memory byte they are going to be occupying. So if we are talking about the integer type of data without decimal point of data, so that type of data is going to be represented by %d, means the data is of integer type. It means that we have to use %d. Then second one is float. If the data is of decimal type, then we are going to use %f to fetch that data, and the memory allocated by the float is 4 bytes. After that, %c. Okay, so %c is used for the character type of data types, and it is going to be occupy 1 byte of memory, that is A to Z, any of the character. Okay, so we are going to see in this video that how we are going to use it while writing down the program, and this is the basic we are going to use in the C language. Then ampersand denotes the address, okay, where the data is stored. So this we are going to use for get the address of each variable, means where we have to store that particular data is denoted by this address. Then next, what is the syntax of this scanf? The syntax of scanf is whatever we are going to write down here, nothing but formatting of this string, means it is of which format. Is it an integer? So if it is integer, we are going to write down %d. If it is an character, we are going to write down %c. If it is an float, then we are going to write down %f. Okay, and then address of the variable. So where we are going to store this data, we want to store this data. So address means ampersand and num means variable name. It can be anything that we are going to use in the program. Okay, then later here let's have a look with a simple program. It will be more clear and understandable to you. So here let's consider, here write a program to read two integer numbers. Here specifically mentioned two integer numbers are there. Integer means here we have to use the integer type of variables, means we have to write down int declare, we have to declare the int data type, and two variables we have to use, and which should be of integer data type, and in the scanf we have to use the %d order. So here it is perfectly clearly understandable to us that integer means %d we have to use for the scan. Then user and print the output on the screen. So we have to use we have to get the value from the user, that is 10 and 20. So and we have to print the output as given in the output screen. Okay, so let's consider this as an test cases. Okay, that 10 and 20 value is given to you by the system, and here we have to print this output, that enter the value of num1. This value will be entered by user. This value is also going to be entered by the user, and the value of num1 and value of num2 is 10 and 20. In this manner, in the next line, in the next line, in the next line, we have to print this program. Okay, so let's start the program. Let us understand first. So here hash include stdio.h, so standard input output. The definition of the printf and scanf is written here in the stdio.h. That's why we are going to include this header file in this particular program. As we know, every program starts execution from the main function. So this is our main function. This is the body of the function. Okay, in between opening and the closing bracket. Now it is clearly mentioned there that we have to use the integer type of data. So that's why we are going to declare int and name of the two variable, that is num1 and num2. So here as soon as we are going to declare this num1 and num2, two memory locations are going to be assigned. Okay, so let's take some shapes so it will be easy to understand. Okay, so this is our first memory location and that one. Okay, we'll name it as num1. This is our num1 and this is the memory location num2. Okay, these are having a particular address. So basically if we're talking about the address, as per the computer it will follow the hexadecimal form. Okay, so for just only for the understanding purpose, I'm going to use here 1000 and here I'm going to use 2000. Okay, so this is nothing but the memory locations of the. Okay, now printf, we are as given in the output. Here what we have to print, enter the value of num1. So this whole thing we have to write down in the printf in the double quotes. So whatever the terms are written in the double quotes are going to be print as it is. Okay, no change, as it is. Then here scanf, we need to get the value from the user, right? So for that we are going to perform this task. Here the which type of data we are going to use here? Integer type, right? That's why %d. Then where we are going to store? In the num1. Where is the num1? Where is the address of the num1? What is the address of num1? The address of num1 is 1000. So what is the data given by the user? It is 10. So 10 is going to be stored here in the memory location. Now next, enter the next value, that is enter the value of num2. Okay, and we need this in the next line. That's why here \n is used. Okay, so as it is in the next line, this line is going to print. Again we are going to use the scanf because we have to scan the another number also. So that's why here %d. It is also an integer type of data, and where we are going to store this data in the num2, where the address of num2. Okay, so address of num2 is nothing but 2000. So at the memory location 2000, this 20 is stored. Okay, now here what we have to print? In the next line, the value of num1 is 10 and value of num2 is 20. So yeah, what we are doing here, next line. So that's why \n. We are going to print as it is because it is in the double quotes. Okay, and here this is important, %d. Why %d? Because it is an integer type of data. Okay, so that's why here the value is getting integer type of data, that is 10 is gonna print over here. Memory location num1's value we are going to print over here. Then same thing here also, \n, the value of num2 is %d. So here this value we are going to print, and here it is 20. Sorry, hope this is understandable to everyone. Okay, so now how we'll get the output? So we'll get the output that is like this. See, enter the value of num1. Okay, so enter the value of num1. So we'll enter the value 10. Okay, then in the next line enter the value of num2. We'll enter 20, and in the next line we'll get the value of num1 is 10 and the value of num2 is 20. Okay, like this we'll get the output of this particular program. Okay, hope everyone is able to understand this program of input output instructions. Okay, now let's come to the compiler. We'll just execute this. Okay, so let's have a look practically how we are going to execute this program. So let's include header file stdio.h, standard input output header file, then integer main, as every program starts execution from the main function. Okay, now we know that we are going to use two integer variables. So num1 and num2, these are my two variables. Now we have to print, enter the value of num1. Okay, so semicolon is must. Then scanf for getting the value from the user. As it is an integer type, we are going to use the format %d ampersand for getting the address, and here at the variable num1 we are going to store. Then printf. I need this in the next line, so that's a \n. Enter the value of num2. whatever the data you are going to write down inside this double quotes is gonna print as it is. So scanf %d format, because second number is also of integer type. At the address of num2 we are going to store it. Okay, great. Now in the next line I just want to print the output. So the value of num1 is %d format, comma num1, and printf. In the next line, the value of num2 is %d, comma num2. Okay, yeah, just look at the syntax. Then return 0 as we have used int main. Let's run this program. So value of num1 we are printing 10. We are giving 20 and we are getting the output, that is enter the value of num1 is 10. We entered the value of num2 is 20 and same value is getting printed over here. So this is our expected output. Now what if my second input is float type? So what I'll do, instead of %d here I am going to use the %f. That's it. Okay, so again let's run the program. 10, 40.98. As expected we are getting our output 10, 40.98, and you can see then remaining 4 zeros because we have seen in the previous videos that what is the difference between float and double. Float is of 4 bytes and double is of 8 bytes memory location they are going to be occupied, and the difference of it is nothing but this precision values they are going to store. Hope this is clear for everyone. Thanks for watching.